Hello, Ashley.
Hi.
Hi everyone. If you don't know who I am, I'm Lauren Van Hemert from RDU on Stage, and I am hanging out with Ashley Owen from Cape Fear Regional Theater in Fayetteville. And this is another Field Trip Friday because I want to take you to see virtually all these wonderful theaters that I get to go to around the area that I want you to go to also. So, right?
Yes, thank you.
Um, so I'm very excited to talk about Cape Fear Regional because I live in the Raleigh area, and I remember Bill Saunders, who's an
Yes.
actor who some of you may know. He was in Memphis over at Cape Fear Regional. Oh, you know what? Pat's welcome.
He needed an intro. This is Rolo. He is Mary Kate's, our artistic director's dog, also my office mate. So he needed to join, he said.
Yes. And if you have any questions as we're going through and Ashley and I are talking, please put them in the chat and we will get to them for sure. So anyway, I did come. Bill convinced me to come for Memphis, which I loved, the Cape Fear Regional Theater production of Memphis. I came back for Shrek, which I was sure I wouldn't love, but you kept telling me to come. And so I was like, okay, I'll come.
I gotcha.
And, it was such a joy fest. And sadly enough, in my Instagram memories today, the picture of me with Nick and Tao and the cast came up, and I thought, how appropriate is it that we're chatting today, because that was a year ago, and one of the last shows I saw.
I cannot believe that. This time last year we were in the full swing of, it was originally a 4-week run, and then we extended and did a 5-week run, sold out basically every single show. It was the best kind of bananas.
And it was joyful. It was just fun, and seeing kids in the audience and seeing them come kind of dressed up. It was really fun.
I love it. It was definitely, we got to do a week and a half of our run of Murder for Two, which was fantastic. But having Shrek be the last show that we really got to do before the pandemic started I'm so thankful that that's what it was. We've talked about it so much over the last year now.
Well, and Nick, who played Shrek in that production, who is just wonderful. He cooked with me on one of these live chats.
I watched it.
He made this wonderful dessert, and mine blew up in the microwave, but it was fine.
I have to say, I need him to come back and do something else, because he is a fantastic cook, and he would bring stuff all the time, and I need some more.
Yes, we need to bring him back to the area for something, for just anything.
Anyone.
So I do have, I for people who don't know, who haven't been over to the theater in Fayetteville, talk to me about the history, because it's not new. It's a very historic theater there. So talk to me about the history of the theater.
Yes. So we are in our 59th season. We were founded by Miss Bo Thorpe, who moved to Fayetteville with her husband, and they were stationed here for the military. And she got here and there was no theater. And she said, Herbert, there is no theater. And he said, well, Bo, why don't you start one? So she did. We started as Fayetteville Little Theater back in the 1962. And it was a small group of local artists who did shows together. Our first show ever was down at the courthouse. Actually, it was the night of January 12th, I believe. And they did that show on site at the courthouse. And from there, we've grown, and I've been here for almost 5 years now, and the growth that has happened with the theater in that 4.5 years is mind blowing. You know, from in one season, we grew by 16% our audience. And then we were on track last year before COVID to grow another 16%. So we're kind of busting at the seams here, and we're so thankful. We have a fantastic community that supports us in everything that we do. And we're thrilled to be making our way up through the Triangle and out across the state.
And a lot of Broadway caliber talent there.
Yeah.
Shanika, we were talking about before we went on air. She starred in Memphis. Eleanor Scott choreographed and directed Memphis. Eleanor went on to choreograph the production of Little Shop of Horrors, the off-Broadway production of Little Shop of Horrors. Shanika came from Hamilton and among other shows. And so it's mind-boggling to me the caliber of talent on all our regional stages. You don't have to go to New York to see a New York caliber show. You can go to Fayetteville. You can go to any of our regional theaters and really see top entertainment.
Absolutely. You know, that's one of the things that we're so proud to do is we blend national and local talent. So basically every show that we do is about 50-50 people from out of state and people from Fayetteville. Or, you know, we have a lot of actors that come down from Raleigh and across the state, from Wilmington down from Raleigh to do shows with us. And that is such a special experience because we're blending people that wouldn't be in the same room together otherwise. And it's so amazing to watch. You know, we had Robert Newman, who was on Guiding Light for 27 years. He came down and he was in Annie. He was going to be in Curious Incident with us. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get to see him again soon. And, you know, that's just like one person. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it is such an awesome experience, not only for us on staff to get to have that experience for us, but for the artists in the state to have the experience to be able to perform with people that have been on Broadway and these huge national tours. It's just so cool.
Well, and I think that's a testament to, I want to shout out to Mary Kate for a second. She's the artistic director at Cape Fear Regional Theater. And she just has built such a fabulous reputation and such wonderful relationships with Robert Newman, with Tice Diorio, who, and these are, you know, whenever you email me and you're like, hey, do you want to chat with someone? I'm like, oh yeah, at this point, Ashley just hooked me up. Because
I got you.
It's always like these amazing people that really have big names. And I think it's a testament to Mary Kate, the relationship she's built and the way they're treated when they come to work in Fayetteville.
Yeah, that is day one, first rehearsal. We have a meet and greet with the staff where we sit down and we introduce ourselves so that everyone knows everyone's name in the building, so that you're not walking down the halls like, I don't even know who that is. We all know each other. And we say to them, we want you to have the best possible experience while you're here. So please let us know whatever it is. My favorite thing that Mary Kate says is, you know, talk to the people that can affect the change. Like if you need a smoothie in the morning for your day to go really well and you don't have a blender in your apartment, just like let us know that you need a blender, because we are 100% going to get you that blender. And you know, that's the tone that we set from day one. We make sure it's a very open door, family like style experience for people. And I think that, you know, we're really lucky that when people leave, they want to come back and they're invested in CFRT as an organization and its longevity, which is, you know, what more could you ask for?
It's amazing. And I know, you know, Robert Newman, he was one of the very first live chats I think I did when I started this series. And the way he spoke about Fayetteville and his experience at Cape Fear was wonderful. And, you know, for a lot of us, we grew up with him. We know him as Joshua was on Guiding Light. So one thing that really impressed me is pretty much as soon as theaters shut down, Cape Fear, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you all were one of the first to pivot, because literally within days, you were running camps virtually.
Yeah.
So talk about how COVID has affected you as a theater company, and that proverbial pivot that you all did, and how it happened so quickly.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to Mary Kate and Ella, who is our managing director. We have fantastic leadership, and we have a staff that is dedicated to making sure that the theater survives any situation. And we're all very community oriented. We kind of say that we are professional theater that is deeply rooted in its community. And so as we were getting rumblings of things starting to close, we started talking about what is that going to look like for us. It was first to lowering capacity numbers, and then it was no more theater. And as soon as that started happening, I wish I had calculated the hours that we just spent kind of in a room together, just like throwing spaghetti at the wall. It was, what can we provide for the people in our community and beyond? Because, we had participants from across the world actually participate in our programming, which was incredible. And also just goes to show it was so needed at that time. The power of art is so powerful, and it's so important for people's lives. And so we realized, my mom is actually a principal in the county here. And so I was talking to her as they were switching virtually, and we were trying to figure out what could we do to provide for kids and families, because, parents, their kids were coming home, and for an amount of time that they don't even know. And they're out of work, or they're not able to work, and kids are having to adjust to not being with their peers every day and being home all day and learning virtually, which has been, even as an adult, it's like even having Zoom meetings all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And so we realized early in the transition to virtual school that they were missing their extracurriculars. So their art, their music, their PE, they didn't have that online yet. And so we were like, we can provide that. And so we started our Edutainment Program, which was for kindergarten through 8th grade. And we split them up. So we had kindergarten and 2nd grade we started with an hour a day, and then we ended up having 2 sessions, one morning session and one afternoon session. We did a 3rd grade to 5th grade, same thing, one class in the morning, one class in the afternoon. And then we had a middle school playwriting course. And every day of the week, it was a week-long program. So you could sign up for a week. Every week was themed, and every day was a different topic. So Monday was music. Tuesday was English and reading and like literacy. Wednesday was PE to get those wiggles out. We did a lot of musical theater dancing with these kids, which was fantastic. And so we were able to provide those really necessary, important subjects that kids were just missing at the moment. And at the same time, we started our virtual theater program, which was also every day of the week. We had artists, local artists and artists from across the country that we had worked with do classes that were totally free online. So Becca, who played Fiona in Shrek and has done a lot of stuff with us. Twice a week, she did like a dance fitness class. We had some tap lessons. We had vocal lessons, and that was all free, and anybody could tune into that. And so we quickly found the holes, and we were people going through the same thing too. And so we were like, what would we need? What do we need right now? And it was an outlet, and it was something to keep our minds busy. And we just did what we know how to do.
Well, and the response was, I mean, it was very touching to me to see the classes that were being offered, to see the free programming that was being offered, because parents were scrambling. It was crazy. And for people who don't know Fayetteville, or who are from outside the area, who haven't been to Fayetteville, it is a military town. So could you paint a picture of the community? You're very close to Fort Bragg. You're very close to the base there. So paint a picture of the community for people who are not from here.
Absolutely. So yeah, Fayetteville is home to Fort Bragg, which is the largest military installation on the East Coast by population. And so a lot of people are here for 2 years. They come to Fort Bragg, they do their special training, and then they leave again. So not only do we have these families that don't know the town, they move new places every 2 years. You know, you're lucky if you're here for longer than that. You're lucky if you're in one place for 5 years. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have these kids that not only are they possibly new to the community, but then they were then stuck at home again, you know? And so we're very lucky that we have a fantastic relationship with Fort Bragg. You know, we do our passport program, which is a free playwriting class specifically for military kids. It's a 8-week program where they get together, they write a play, and then they perform it together. We had also just started right before the COVID hit, was an adult version of that, because it's the same thing. Adults, again, need that outlet. They're moving to new places too. And it's hard making new friends when you're an adult. You know, there's so many things happening. I think it's just as hard, if not harder, when you're an adult to make new friends. And so this community is so flexible and so pliable, because that's what you're used to, you know, that's part of it. That's what it is. And so we just wanted to make sure that we were serving the community in a way that they needed to be served, and making sure that they knew that we were here, because that's another thing too, is people coming in and out all the time. We're constantly reintroducing ourselves to people, or introducing ourselves to people, not even reintroducing ourselves, you know, so it's a constant education, making sure that people know that we're here for you. We want you to come here, and we want to know you.
Absolutely. And there is, I mean, so people know, you do have on staff, I'm not sure if she's on staff or if she's a volunteer, but a military outreach person at the theater to facilitate that communication and those relationships, which I don't think a lot of theaters, you know, have that role. So it really makes for you all being really engaged in that community, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it's helpful. You know, I'm from Fayetteville. I'm not military. My grandfathers were military, but you know that lifestyle by living that lifestyle. And Melissa, our outreach coordinator, is a military spouse, and she has a child who is a military child, and she just gets it. You know, she speaks the right language. She understands what it's like to live that life, and it's hard. You know, I give kudos to everyone in the military, because it is the moving and the reintroductions to life, and the figuring new things out all the time, and the pace at which you run with that. You know, you can find out you're moving, and you have days, weeks notice that you have to pick up your life and move. And so having that person for us has been so fundamental in getting these military programs up and running.
The first live production I attended after everything was shut down was Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill.
Yes.
And I was really nervous, because I'm one of these COVID scared people that truly I have not left my house except to purchase groceries and visit my parents in almost a year. And so it was a leap of faith truly to come, but you assured me that it would be safe. And I was, you know, my husband said the worst that can happen is you get there and you don't feel safe, and you turn around and you come home. So it's not very far drive. But I did feel safe, and I was so appreciative that you all really did. I felt you all really had your finger on the pulse of how people were feeling, and that people had varying comfort levels coming to that production. I know at one point somebody had sat kind of close to me and I was getting a little wiggly, and somebody came over and just moved my chair and said, "Oh, you can actually move your chair over there further away." And so I was very appreciative. I felt very safe. There were temperature checks. Everyone was masked. At one point, somebody in the audience did take off their mask, and I think Mary Kate or somebody from the theater came and asked them to put back on their mask. So what did you learn from that production? That was a few months ago. What did you learn from that production, that about producing theater in a pandemic?
Yeah, a lot. So I'm going to take it back to the summer, because we started our summer camp program and we did that in person. And we did 8-9 weeks over the summer with kids. And so that was a huge learning curve for us. We had them virtually in the spring, and then we had them in person in the building. And we read all of the CDC guidelines constantly. As things were changed, we made sure that everyone in the building knew what they were and what that meant for us and what we needed to adjust to make sure that everyone felt safe. Because again, we're all people too. And we in the building, we all have different levels of comfort when it comes to COVID, And so, again, that's spreads across the community. And so we knew that everyone has their own reacclimation process. And so we learned a lot with the kids. We did the third installment of our kids series for our 6 and 9-year-olds. It was called Kids Rock the World. We did Frozen Junior with our middle school group. And then we ended up doing another play with our teenagers. And we learned so much then. That's when we learned about the temperature checks, and we learned about the constant hand sanitizing and how far people need to be spread apart, and limiting the number of people in a group, and keeping people in a group together. So all of the learning we did over the summer was so fundamental in getting us prepared for Lady Day. And we were so thankful that we were able to do that production outside. There is a vacant old auto repair shop up the block from us. And we asked, "Hey, can we borrow your back parking lot for the next month?" And he was like, "Absolutely." And we turned it into a makeshift theater. And so I think having that open air was so important for people. We joke all the time that we've learned more about HVAC in the last year than we ever thought we would learn about HVAC and the recycling there and how important that is. And again, everyone has their own level of comfort. So any audience member that came up to us and said, I feel like I'm too close to that person, can I move this way? Because we weren't in a theater, we were outside in a parking lot with bistro lights and some spotlights. We had the flexibility to move people and to make sure that they were comfortable. And again, providing that experience that people really were craving, a night out with people, real people in person, and theater, art.
And theater, yes.
Yeah, and a show and music and laughter and tears. It's not a fluffy show. It was a show that hit you and your emotions. And I think it was also a really cathartic experience for a lot of people.
And Janetta was as lovely as she could be. She was on one of the live chats too. She was just a lovely performer. The band she had was amazing, all masked. So I felt like we were normalizing mask wearing. And after a while, you just forgot about it. You just didn't think about it anymore. It was just part of the costume. So,
yeah, absolutely.
the other thing that strikes me about Cape Fear Regional Theater that I haven't seen as much in Raleigh is the diversity of your audiences.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen this rising up in the Dear White American Theater movement since last summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, without question, every show that I've been to at Cape Fear, it is a beautifully diverse audience. And I know that's a testament to a lot of the shows you put on stage. You were going to do The Color Purple. Hopefully, you'll still do The Color Purple. Jelly's Last Jam was on your season, which I'm really disappointed didn't get to happen because I really wanted to see that show.
Soon, we got it. We will do it.
Okay, good.
Don't worry.
But I think it is a testament to how community focused the theater is and the stories you're putting on stage. So after George Floyd was killed, did the theater have any kind of response? A lot of theaters put out solidarity statements, but I feel like you probably had policies and procedures in place already, because diverse audiences aren't just going to show up unless you've made a welcoming environment for them. So,
exactly.
So talk to me about kind of what's happened since George Floyd, or some of the policies and procedures that you've had in place to engage communities that maybe typically don't go to the theater.
Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that. We work really hard to make sure that our community, which is an incredibly diverse community, to make sure that they are reflected on stage. That goes into programming, that goes into outreach events around our programming. And we are, so, we're gearing up for a renovation. And so we're doing a lot of looking at our own statistics as we're going out into the world and having to talk about ourselves so much. And one of the statistics that blew me away when we realized it was the national average for audience diversity is 25%. Our audience has 40% diversity.
Wow.
And we knew that it was a lot, but we didn't actually, until I saw that number in the spreadsheet, 40% diversity, I was like, oh, like that's big and that's special. And, we did release a statement after George Floyd was murdered. And we, again, in the same way that we talked so much about how do we move forward with COVID, we talked about how do we move forward, making sure that we are doing what is right for us and for our community and for our artists on stage, and making sure that people feel safe when they come here, making sure that they see some aspect of their life reflected on the stage when they come here, because that is what theater is for. That is what art is. That is exactly what we strive to do every day. And so we talk about it still. We continue to have those conversations, and with our education programming, we make sure that we have diverse teachers because children need to have that. We make sure that our camps are diverse and that our casting is diverse. And it's not like, I don't feel like we're doing it to make a statement about it, but I feel like we're doing it because it's just it's what it should be. It's the right thing to do. And it shouldn't be so hard. It shouldn't be so hard.
It shouldn't be. And I was talking to someone earlier today, and he was telling me that he really will continue to work with those theaters who were making strides prior to last summer and who were really trying to focus on their outreach, focus on bringing Black and brown people to the table prior to it, and didn't kind of have this knee-jerk reaction that might be temporary.
Yeah.
And Cape Fear certainly fits into that mold, into that
Thank you.
statement. From what I've seen anyway on the stages and with who you have working behind the scenes and as designers and choreographers, it's really exciting to me to be an audience member in an audience that actually kind of looks like the world.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, again, because of Fort Bragg, Fayetteville is a diverse community. And we make sure that everyone can come and see a show. So like our preview nights, tickets are $19 to see a big musical. They're $15 to see a play. So we try to get to make sure that people of all socioeconomic tiers can come into the theater and can enjoy the same quality of art that a $32, our top ticket is $32. And so making sure that we are providing our community with the experiences that we think the world should have it always circles back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I should say for Shrek and for some of your family performances, you've also offered the sensory friendly performances. So we should say that too, because it's not just welcoming in diverse populations, it's welcoming folks with disability, living with disabilities. It's really just creating a welcoming atmosphere across the board. So I love that.
Yeah, those sensory friendly performances are one of my favorite things that we do. And we actually, right up the street from us, they recently opened the Friendship House, which is like immersive living for adults with disabilities. They live with normally functioning adults. And so classes with them, we call them our friends, Friendship House, our friends. We do classes with them where they come in, same kind of model as our passport program for the military kids, where they come in, they write a play and they perform it together with one another. And that is also so incredible and so amazing. And just another example of how we really want to make sure that we are working with our community and showcasing our community.
I love that.
We are.
As far as the building is concerned, it's a kind of a historic building. We were talking before we went on camera that the seats are old. They've seen a lot of shows.
A lot of shows.
And the theater is using as a company, you're using this time to, while things are shut down, to renovate. So tell me about the renovations and the future plans.
Yes, we are so excited about the renovation. Again, making sure that, discussing in this downtime, what can we do to be the most productive? And it's something that we've been talking about internally for a long time. And what an opportunity to do it now. We would have to close down anyways to do a renovation. And so we decided to go ahead and jump in and go ahead and get it done while we have this forced downtime. I said this to you earlier, but two of the things that people say to us when they come to the theater is, oh my God, the show was so good. The seat was uncomfortable and I couldn't really hear. So we took that note. And we are renovating the auditorium currently, or, we're starting within the next couple of weeks. We are getting wider chairs. So the chairs themselves are going from 19 inches wide to about 21, 22 inches wide. And then the rows are getting between 4 and 6 inches deeper. So you get some extra leg room in there, which is everything. As someone who has lived the last 4.5 years with bruises on my legs constantly from bumping into them all the time, I am so pleased. But yeah, we're renovating the entire inside. It's getting a facelift. We're getting the new chairs, new accessibility. So you've been into the theater, so we're going to have a mid-center row now so that we can have more seating or more accessible seating there, more accessible seating down the front, handrails. We're new carpet, new floors, new paint, new walls, all of that fun stuff. So we've been rocking and rolling with that. for the last several weeks now, and it'll start soon, and we will open in the fall with a brand new auditorium.
Very exciting. And I don't see why we wouldn't be allowed to say this, but you have some Tony Award-winning designers that are working on some of the elements. So it will be a state-of-the-art theater when it's done.
Absolutely, yes. Robert Kaplowitz, who won a Tony for Fela, is doing a brand new sound system for us. So he came in, he did some fantastic 3D models about how the sound was not hitting those seats in the correct way, and got all of he's updating everything for us and reinstalling things and updating all of our sound system. And Jeff Kreuter, who won the Tony for Peter and the Starcatcher and also worked on Newsies, is doing a lighting upgrade for us. So it really will be a state-of-the-art theater right here in North Carolina, right here in the middle, the heart of Carolina, really.
Yeah. I know you've done many audience surveys. I think, every time there's a show, there's an audience survey.
Yes.
But being engaged in the community as the theater is, when do you think people will feel comfortable coming back to the theater? Or do you think they're kind of already there because you have started offering in-person classes and that kind of thing?
Yeah, that is such a good question. And I would love to know the answer to that also. I think now with our education programming and our camps, we're keeping the capacity really low. And we're taking a lot of precautions, and it is our hope that we can start back up in the fall with a close to regular season. And so fingers crossed that vaccinations roll out in the way that we want them to roll out and people continue to get vaccinated. And because it would just be, we would love to welcome a full house back into the theater, into a brand new, beautiful house. Yeah, it would be
and so as far as shows go, can you share any upcoming shows and what the public can do now to support the theater and going forward when you hopefully open in the fall and you welcome people back?
Yeah, so the biggest way that you can support us right now is by joining our Seat Squad, which is what we are calling the donors who sponsor chairs in the new theater. So the chairs themselves are $2,000 a piece. You can pay that over 4 years, which breaks down to $42 a month. And so you get your name on the back of the chair or somewhere on the chair. We're still working out all the details, but your name would be on the chair, and you would help us really launch into this next era of CFRT. You can make a donation if that $2,000 is a little too much right now, or over the 4 years, if that's a little too much, you can make a donation to us that we will go straight into the renovation. And then in terms of programming, we're hoping to do something again in the spring, much like Lady Day. Again, we're following vaccinations and COVID, all the numbers, just to see when that will happen. But we're hoping to do something outdoors then. And we are looking at, for next season, the shows that we weren't able to do over this last year. So figuring out, it goes back to, are people going to be comfortable seeing a big musical with a 20-person cast? Are people really going to want to see a play with a smaller cast, a play with a medium cast, a musical with a small cast, what that looks like? So we're in the middle of doing all of that research now. And I think over the next couple of months, I should have some more answers for you on that.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
And if people want to find out what's happening, they can visit the website. They can follow Cape Fear Regional Theater on social media. The website is down below, cfrt.org. Very easy to navigate the website, so you can easily see the camps and programs that are being offered. And it really is such a lovely place to see a show. It's very family friendly. The shows I've been to, it's really just a warm, lovely, welcoming atmosphere. So, like I said, I do these field trips because I want everybody to go to the wonderful theaters that I get to go to when we come back.
We would love everyone to come and join us whenever we are able. That would be the best.
Yes, yes. And hopefully that'll happen sooner than later because I'm really missing theater.
So bad. So bad.
I know. Well, thank you for hanging out with me on a Friday afternoon. This was so nice to catch up. I haven't seen you since you zapped me with the thermometer, the temperature check at Lady Day. So
thank you for having me.
Very nice to see you and
catching up with
you. Everybody come back next week. We've got I just posted the schedule for next week, but Monday at 7:30, I will be with my friend Eric Woodall and some new members of the North Carolina Theater family. So I'm very excited to catch up with them. That'll be Monday night at 7:30. And if you go to the Are You on Stage Facebook page, you can see the schedule for the rest of the week. If you tuned in late to this chat, it will live on Facebook, so you can watch it from the beginning and hear about the history of Cape Fear Regional Theater, and it will also be on the website. So just stay safe and healthy. Ashley, say hi to Mary Kate for me.
I will. Thank you so much. You too.
Please let the dog back into your office.
He has been snoozing on my lap this whole time.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
Say bye. Say bye, everybody.
Well, happy Valentine's Day. Have a good weekend, and everybody stay safe and healthy. And I'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.